Here we are at Which Motorhome's latest group test, and we're looking today at 8 low-profile motorhomes, all 6 metres long, all coach-built, but all of them have a drop-down bed over the lounge area. Now, some of them also offer a bed underneath that, but primarily they're two birds with the option perhaps of taking grandchildren occasionally. The key thing is they've got this A-class style bed and they're short. The first one we're going to look at is this Rapido 600FF. It's a brand new model for 2014, replacing the previous 700FF, but Rapido have been around in this sector of the market longer than almost anybody else now. And just looking at this Rapido, you can immediately recognise it as being from that French brand because of the smiley grille on the front. It gives it a bit of a look of the A-class models from the same marque. Now, this is also one of our favourites in the class, and I'll show you some of the reasons why we like it. As soon as you sit in this Rapido, it feels like an upmarket product. You get these curtains around the cab as well as the blinds. You get a nice plush feel to the upholstery, and there's a certain comfort and quality to the ambience. The table's a bit large, but it does move in every direction. You've got an over-cab sunroof and lots of lighting set into the base of the bed. That comes down electrically, of course, too. And there are things like central locking on all the doors, including the habitation door. There's a big fridge freezer with automatic energy selection, and the TV locker's above behind this tambour door. Then over on the other side, the L-shaped unit for the UK comes with this neat low-level oven and grill. There's central locking on the drawers as well, but a little bit limited in terms of low-level storage. And up above, nice cream contrasting doors for the top lockers, but they don't have positive locking. Then behind me, the washroom goes right across the rear of the vehicle. The loo control is a bit low down, but this area is accessible from outside as well as in, so you've got plenty of storage there if you wanted to carry lots of outdoor gear. The wardrobe is separate and has really deep hanging depth, and then there's a completely separate shower in the far corner. Another French competitor and another new van for 2014 is this Peugeot Aventura P606. Now, the concept is the same, but immediately you spot a few differences, like the window in the habitation door. It's got the optional fog lamps in the front and a silver cab, of course. Inside though, the floor pan is very similar. Let's go and have a look. Again, there's a lovely feeling of space in this vehicle, especially for one that's only 6 metres long. I rather like this faux leather and sort of suede effect fabric, although there are other options, and you can upgrade to a British fabric which gives a more comfortable feel to the cushions themselves and perhaps a little bit more upmarket ambience. But this table that folds in half is a neat touch. It's not so dominant when it's folded away. I also prefer the travel seats in this vehicle with the high backrests there, and it even has the option with a lap belt only of carrying a rear facing passenger here, so you could have 5 people on the road in this vehicle. The bed is above again, but this one comes down manually, and there aren't quite so many lights set into the underside of it. Now here the TV which mounts on this bracket will be on show all the time. It's not boxed in, and when the bed's down it does rather block the doorway. But on the other side of the vehicle you do get this British style cooker, which is something unique in the class. It's got a mains hot plate and a separate oven and grill, so that's a real plus for the pilote. Again, bathroom across the rear. This time the wardrobe's on the other side of the vehicle, and the external storage isn't quite as good as the Rapido's, but you have still got a big separate shower. Now this is the only British contender in the class. It's from Bailey, and they have to be congratulated on introducing this compact 540 only 2 years into motorhome production. Now Bailey have huge experience in caravans, so perhaps it's not surprising that they've got into motorhomes so quickly and so well, but there are some differences to this vehicle. For a start, it's on a Peugeot cab rather than a Fiat. Comes out of the same factory, but the engines are different, and the Peugeot's a bit gruffer, a bit noisier than the Fiat. There's no automatic option either. On the plus side though, it's on a super low Alco chassis, so it's very low slung. It should drive really well. Now there are some details we're not so keen on from the Bailey side. There's no external storage lockers on this vehicle, and the wastewater tank drain looks a bit exposed and a bit cheap, a bit last season. The other thing is the Whale water filler's a bit fiddly to use. Now the Alco chassis means that the floor level in the rear is very low, and that means there's a real step between the cab and the living area. You can see that in the difference in the seat heights, and that really does compromise the lounge area, which is rather further compromised by this cupboard here. On the plus side, the bed does come down electrically. There's an overcab sunroof, of course, and this table does store away in the wardrobe if you need it to, and that's particularly important for travel, because tables permanently erected can become a bit of a missile in a serious accident. I quite like this kitchen with a decent amount of worktop, 3-burner hob which is joined by a combined oven and grill below, and this new Hessian effect furniture that Bailey are using is quite smart. There's room for a dealer to install a microwave up above, and then over on the other side of the vehicle there's a big fridge freezer, but a single door model this time. Now if you want more cooling space rather than freezing space, you can take out the freezer compartment, but push button ignition, no, nobody fits that anymore. Across the back, the bathroom has good and bad points. The storage of the ladder for the drop-down bed on the inside of this door is a plus, and there's a really good separate shower. But putting the toilet roll holder behind you as you sit on the loo, who was thinking that through? Now Showal is the third French brand here, and this best of 10 replaces the Flash 10, which has been selling like hotcakes. Now why have they changed it? Because the Ford cab, and notice that this is the only Ford here, now that Ford Transit cab is on run out. There's going to be a brand new Ford Transit next year. So this is your last chance to buy this shape of Ford, and it's your last chance to buy a Showdown that looks like this, because they're selling them off an incredible 37 grand or thereabouts. It's got some good features too. Not only has it got the full height storage that we saw on the Rapido, it's also got an external hatch into one of the settee lockers. And there's lots of kit on this vehicle too. Now whether you like the drive of the softer riding Ford Transit in comparison with the Fiat is very much a matter of personal taste. For me, I'd take the Fiat every time, but some people prefer the Ford. Just remember that if you trade in this vehicle in 5 years' time, it might look quite old by then. What you can't argue with is the space in this lounge area. It really does feel huge. And equally huge is this massive table. I think Showal must have had banqueting in mind when they fitted this. Not only did they fit an electric drop-down bed above too, and a bed that comes down much lower than most of the opposition, but they fitted an electric table too, a table that rises and falls at the flick of a switch. Now the reason for that is that the table then goes down to seat height, or just below this cushion level, and the bed comes down to just above seat height. That's a real plus. Once again, it's a case of fridge freezer on one side, but this time above it is a grill. No oven, just a grill. And look how high it is. It's okay for me, but if you're shorter in stature, you might not see that the toast is burning. On the other side, the main galley unit is better. There's a reasonable amount of worktop. We've got 3 burners, and I like these big drawers with soft closing mechanisms on them, as well as this cream effect, cream glossy cupboards. Nice bit of contrast. Again, across the back is the washroom, and the star feature there is the huge shower area. Room for 2 in there. If you like the look of the Showdown Best Of, but prefer a Fiat cab, here's the solution. New for 2014, Showdown now offer the same layout on the Fiat cab. And this is called the 510. You can have it as a 510 Flash or more upmarket 510 Welcome. Now the Welcome has things like the new look back panel, which adds a bit of style and has neat LED rear lights. It's also got the door with the window in it, and there's lots of extra features on this vehicle, reversing sensors for example. Come through the side door, which is linked to the central locking, and immediately it feels very much like the Best Of. Different fabrics of course, but you've got the same humongous table over cab sunroof, the bed that comes really low, the electric table, all the same sort of features. There's a bit more width in this Fiat cab though, so it does feel a bit more spacious up front. Again, there's a big fridge freezer adjacent to the door with a grill above, but this time it's an oven and grill and a more modern looking fitting. But you're still going to have to be tall to be comfortable getting hot food out of something that high up. Pity they don't put it in the main galley unit, which has the same giant drawers as the Best Of, same 3-burner hob, but there are some little extras like this neat moulded splashback to the kitchen with the little inset lights and this rather posh new tap. Across the back end, again, the washroom is very much like in the Ford version, with the same huge shower and the same sliding tambour door to shut off the bathroom. Now, along with Rapido, Burstner were the first to build a motorhome in this class, but they've rethought the Ixio Time 585 for 2014 and it's now the 586. It's got a wider caravan door and it's got a fridge freezer, which was one of the weak points of the old model, which had a much smaller fridge. But it's still got a lot of the things that made the Burstner popular. Apart from anything else, I think this is one of the better looking vehicles here, especially with this champagne coloured cab and the rather swoopy roofline. I rather like it. It's another big lounge area in this Ixio Time with a huge table. If only they'd fit a fold-in half table like the one in the Pilote, or better still, one that is completely removable. But I really like this new sort of double padded seat cushions on these latest Burstners. They really does add a little bit of extra comfort. And the fact that the drop-down bed is a manual one, well, judging by some of the issues we've had with electric beds on this test, that's no bad thing. Other features, well, strangely, although they fit nice posh pleated blinds on the side windows, the cab area has fiddly push-on screens that really aren't up to what's quite an expensive German motorhome. Now here's the fridge freezer that marks out the 586 as a new model this year, but it hasn't spoilt the rest of the kitchen. There's still more worktop space in this galley than you'll find in its competitors that we've looked at already. There's good drawer space too, and I'd rather have the oven and grill too low than too high as it was in the Showdowns. Plenty of cupboard space here too. On the other side, the corner washroom doesn't have a separate shower, but it does have a wash basin that swings out of the way to give you a bit more room when you are hosing yourself down. Adria's Matrix Access was introduced last year, and there's only minor tweaks to this season's model, so it's established on the market and has proved popular. One of the things we're not so sure about though is just look at the amount of rear overhang on this vehicle. It's not going to drive as well as some of its competitors because the wheelbase is that much shorter. It's a high quality product though. Just look at the finish to the bodywork to see that Adria's are up there with the best. Having a half dinette seat rather than an L settee that some of the others have doesn't seem to harm this Adria's lounge space one bit, and having the table mounted against the wall and over to one side does seem to free up a decent walk through in the corridor. And then if you've got friends over or you just want a big dinner, there's always the extra leaf on the table. It also feels a nice spacious light lounge with plenty of headroom and good daylight and artificial light. And Adria are another firm that this year is starting to use this sort of faux leather trim, which looks quite nice. The bed's electric on this model, and they even fit a heater duct coming out into this overcab area to blow a bit of warm air into the bedroom. Adria don't fit an oven or grill in the Matrix Access, but they do give you this microwave in the base of the wardrobe, so your options for cooking are more than just on the 3-burner hob at the back. It's also got this super deep sink, which is rather nice, and a good area of worktop. But something that's slightly unusual is the storage. If you look in here, the external door leads into the kitchen cupboard, so whether you've got enough space will depend on the balance of your storage that you need between what goes outside, your folding bikes, barbecues, etc., and what goes in the kitchen cupboards, your pots and pans, your tinned food and so on. Plenty of room for fresh food because the fridge freezer is pretty enormous. It's a single door model, but it does have a removable freezer compartment, so if you just want cold food, you can have masses of it. Corner shower again, but no separate shower. It's an all-in-one toilet and shower area. The final van, number 8 in our comparison, is this new for 2014 T-Line 590 from the budget Italian brand Rollerteam. And I have to say it's quite a good looking vehicle with this dark grey cab and the deep skirts that certainly give it quite a sort of low slung, hunkered down look. Let's see what that translates to on the inside. You can see the inspiration for this vehicle comes from the Showdown Flash 10. It's got the same big lounge with the same big table, but there's a different look to it. Still plenty of space and plenty of light with this really big overcab sunroof, but perhaps there's a slightly budget feel to some of the fabrics and the rather boxy cushions, so it could feel a bit more inviting in the living area. Now, like the Showdown, there's a big fridge freezer, but it's just got a grille, and it's again too high up and a bit of an old-fashioned looking unit these days. But I do like this dark woodwork with the contrasting white doors with these simple stripes. Quite a classy look for what is effectively a budget vehicle. There's good kitchen storage too, with really big drawer space. But 3-burner hob, lax ignition, and a little worktop cover for the sink. Across the back, the washroom has the wardrobe included and the separate shower, as you'd expect.